So I'm Devrup. I work at SciSpace. SciSpace and Dr. David have decided to partner for this webinar. We are a company that makes AI tools to aid researchers, scientists, academics as they do their research. We want to help you save time. We want to help you become better. And so we are building more in this field. Today's session will focus on how to use AI in a way that doesn't feel difficult to do your research, right? And this is irrespective of which stage of your career you're in. Dr. David has over 3 decades of experience in academia. He's currently in the UAE and is the acting director at, correct me if I'm wrong, Mohammed bin. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I'll introduce. Yeah, I'll introduce.
Yeah,
No worries.
have that. And Dr. David is somebody who has shown a lot of interest in this field, specifically AI, and how it affects education and academia in general. And I've heard a lot of good things about him, and I've spoken to him quite a bit. But I hope you guys benefit from his immense experience today. The structure of the webinar is such that we will have Dr. David speak in the first half of things, and we will have a Q&A later. So if you have any questions, do put them in the Q&A in the questions or chat, and we will pick all of the questions at the end of the session so that we don't get disrupted. Okay. Over to you, Dr. David.
Recording in progress.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the Olympics opening ceremony. So thank you for for joining me tonight. The purpose of this webinar is to show you some of the tools. Of course, I partnered with SciSpace tonight. So I will show you SciSpace, but I will show you other tools as well. I want you to have a variety of tools that can be useful for anything that you need to do related to research. As Devrup just mentioned, ask the questions at the end or during the seminar, during the webinar. You ask the questions in the chat, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. So this was going to be a fast and furious. You will have the recording. You can also ask the questions as I mentioned. So you'll see what you can do with those tools. Of course, there are thousands of tools being presented every single day and being launched. So, and I'm sure you have used a lot of those already. If not, you will see how I use it when I do research. Very quickly, I am Head of Educational Program Development and here at Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. We are the only graduate university focusing on AI in the world. We have staff and students from all over the planet focusing on AI. So I'm going to show you some of the things that we use here and some of the things that I personally use, and I hope this is useful. Okay, so are you ready to go? Let's go. So the first question many people are asking is, will I be replaced as an educator or as a researcher? Well, as many people have said, and before I start showing you some of the tools, you probably will be replaced if you don't use any of those tools. So if you don't use AI in marketing, if you don't use AI in whatever you do in your jobs, you probably will be replaced, or you will be second choice when you apply to jobs. You also need to teach those tools to your students. It's very important that students are very proficient with this. Otherwise, as I mentioned, they will not be selected when they go for interview, because if they apply for jobs related to communication, for example, or social marketing, and they have no idea about how to use the tools, then somebody will say, let's pick somebody who knows how to use it. Okay. As you can see, a very quick publicity a few days ago was published here. It's called From Bland AI, Still Hiring Humans. So basically, you see, you can actually talk to AI. You don't need to hire humans anymore. So it's moving super fast. Llama and Geminis and the GPT-4.5s are replacing everything. Many people are using it very extensively. So you need to brush up the skills. Okay, I am very keen on learning and teaching, and particularly on upskilling. All right, and that's the purpose of today's seminar. So this is my LinkedIn. If you want to scan it very quickly, you can find me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions after the seminar, I don't know how long we'll have. I'll stay as long as possible. But if you have any questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn. Is that okay? Now, this is a bit of my research. Very quickly as well. I do research on a lot of, can we even a lot of time answering emails instead of doing what they should be doing, which is medicine. So can ChatGPT help with this? I'm also comparing some of the articles here, for example, economics, and here it's calculus and statistics. I just finished 2 articles, one on environmental science and one on entrepreneurship. Can chatbots help us teach or learn better? So for example, the entrepreneurship is, I am an entrepreneur. I have no time to bang on people's door and ask about, okay, I want to launch my business. I don't know how to write a business plan, or I don't know what to do about this and that, about my marketing campaign. Can a chatbot help me? Okay, because they are free, they are commercially available. So how can they help me? So we check different chatbots, we compare them. I recommend you to read those articles. This is the most popular at the moment. Lots of citations on this one here. Okay, it's a little bit more general, but it gives you an idea of everything. These are more technical, a little bit more technical here, for example. We also have about exam cheating. There's a lot of things about, students cheating, using ChatGPT to cheat or do research with LLMs. So to start with, I will tell you that if you want to write your article all with AI and submit it to a journal, this is not ethical. Okay, we are researchers, we are role models to students. We need to teach them how to use it to make your life easier, to work faster, and this is what I'm trying to will attempt to do tonight, to show you some of those tools. But do not write an article completely with AI. And if you use some parts of it, some sections of it, declare it. Okay, because sum it out that it has been written. Okay, so be careful with this. These are some of the products or tools I will be showing you tonight. Of course, I will be talking about SciSpace. But we have other things that you can use. I'm sure you know some of them. You might not know all of them. I'll show you very quick examples with different disciplines, a range of disciplines for you to understand. So the idea here is to inspire you. Maybe you're not in mathematics, or you are not in Chinese medicine, or you are not in marketing, or you're not in communication. But the idea is for you to understand how to use these tools with some example. Okay, I do not know your disciplines. It's the first time I meet you, so I have no idea if you are an academic, if you are professional staff, if you teach in whatever school. I have no, if you're a lawyer, I don't know. All right, so I give you some examples to illustrate the things. All right, so let's start very, very quickly, because we only have 45 minutes, about literature search, brainstorm, research questions. So sometimes the difficult part, for example, when you're doing a master's or a PhD, or when you want to write an article, is to have a research question. Sometimes it's very difficult. I know that because I'm work with some colleagues and they're doing their PhDs, and sometimes they draft research questions and it's not very clear, or it's not precise, it's not focused, it's too wide. And sometimes you have to do a lot of literature search. Okay, I'm not talking about literature review, talking about literature search, okay, and brainstorming research questions. So a simple exercise that you can do here, for example, is to look at all the different products that you have, the LLM. So for example, on the left, you see Gemini here. Here you have Llama, okay, and I recommend you to do that, a little exercise yourself or with your students. You can ask your question here, all right, and you can ask the other ones the exactly same question to see what you get. Okay, so here, for example, generate 3 research questions and 4 hypotheses for my article, which is called "Does Chatting with Chatbots Improve Language Learning Performance?" Actually, I took it from an article that already exists. All right, for the sake of demonstrating how to do it. So this article, does chatting with chatbots improve language learning, has already been published. It's not mine, it's from another researcher. Okay, so I ask, can you give me the research questions, because I wanted to compare what was published to what the LLMs can do. So for example, here you see the research questions are here, the hypotheses, research questions, hypotheses. What do you notice? Do you notice something? Look at it very quickly. It's a lot of information, but you can scan it very quickly. All right, here you have Claude Sonnet, okay, which is also a popular one, GPT 4.0, Llama. What you notice? You can notice that, for example, here, you get the same answers from two LLMs, Llama and Claude. Almost the same hypothesis, all right? Research questions, you also get almost the same research question from 4.0 and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. What does it mean? Maybe they've been trained the same way. You remember that whatever generative AI is doing is to generate content. So it's not copied content. They regurgitate some content that they have been trained on. So as a matter of fact, you can create your own chatbot. You know that, some of you. Easily, you can go to GPT or you can go to Poe and create your own chatbot. You train your chatbot and it will regurgitate content. It will create it, so it will generate it. So it's not copied. If I copy that and I put that on Google, it will not, flag it as being copied from somewhere. All right, it creates it. But you can see that the different LLMs here are answering the exactly same thing. The level now of those LLMs is getting better and better. So if you have access to one in some countries, I understand that some of you are from some countries that maybe you have access to only one thing, you might actually get the right answers or the right questions. Okay. If I go to Semantic Scholar and I ask the exactly same thing when I do a literature search, I get 19,200 results. It's the same like when you go for Google Scholar. If you go to Scopus, sometimes you get less. All right. So you are used to all these searches. But if I go to Semantic Scholar, I want less. So Semantic Scholar is going to reduce it for me and it's going to give me all the relevance that I need. Okay, the PDF, I can select anything that I want here. All right, and I can select, if I go for education, for example, I get 817 results, which is better than the 19,000 to deal with. Okay. Now, of course, here, as you can see, I said I go to Perplexity. Some of you have used Perplexity before. If now I need to write an abstract. So let's say I'm doing my literature review already, and I said that I'm not going to show you how to do literature review here. I have an abstract. I need to write an abstract because sometimes you want to go to a conference. It's a quick conference. They just request an abstract. So what do you do here? So here, for example, I wrote, what should my abstract be for my article? Title, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it's looking at the sources and already identified that this article here has already been published, as you can see right here. Okay. So this is what it generated. Perplexity generated this abstract, which is not bad. If tomorrow I need to go to a conference in Australia, for example, or the UAE or India or Germany, and I'm not quite sure how to write an abstract quickly because sometimes the deadlines are very, very short, this is not bad. This is the actual abstract. I tend to think that the abstract generated by Perplexity is actually better than this one. All right. Of course, here they are right. They put, we meta-analyzed 70 things, okay, which is good. You need to put that, then you put the numbers, the performance. This, of course, did not do it, all right, because I generated whatever it could generate based on what I wrote, but it's not too bad, all right. Now here, I can also go with audio. I click here to import a file to get started. So it's very simple. Okay, I just log into Autio. It says click here to import a file. I put the article, all right, whatever article, and I say, for example, summarize this for me. So this is gonna save me a lot of time when I do literature research. Because, for example, when you go to, so they have access to a lot of, this is the free version, by the way. I'm using everything free here, all right? Except the SciSpace that I'll show you later. But here, if you go to Autio and you put the article and I want it to be summarized in 10 concise bullets. This can help me if I do, for example, a meta-analysis, or I do a systematic review of the literature, and give me the key takeaways. Sometimes, you know, you don't have access because your library, at your university or your school did not subscribe to those articles. And so you don't have access, you just have access to the abstract, which is not helping because the abstract is very, very limited, okay? So it's concise. But here, it will help me to give me some information about this. You see, research focus in 2 lines, 3 lines. Participants, blah, blah, blah. Key findings, I stopped it for a while, but it's going to give me the context and methodology. So if this is relevant to my paper, I take. If it's not relevant, I discard, okay? But that's going to be very quickly. This takes exactly a minute, all right, literally. Okay, so you can stop generating, of course, all right? Now, sometimes you have issues with understanding a complicated article. So you do your literature search. It's an article that you think you should put because it's relevant, you reckon, or it's because it's a seminal article and it's everybody's citing it. You need to put it, but sometimes it's difficult to understand. What do? So you go to explain paper, for example. So explain paper will help you explain. So again, very simple. I upload here some article in Chinese medicine. I just put a PDF. He asks you immediately to upload a PDF. So you download the article, all right? And then begin reading, all right? And then highlight the text to have our AI explain it. So you highlight everything here. For example, I don't understand anything, let's say, about this. And it will explain for me, all right? So it explains everything for me. And you can check here, okay? So I highlight this part, okay, here. Explain, and then it will explain everything here for an undergraduate level, which is good for your students, for example. When you do discussion of papers for your students, sometimes they don't understand, or they can work in groups, or yourself, because as I said, you need to use this article. So here it will summarize it or explain in layman terms at undergraduate level. You can change the level, okay? Now, SciSpace. You remember I gave you the same example here, chatbots, language learning. So this is my simple prompt. You see, SciSpace is very simple as well. You just put a simple prompt and immediately you get suggestions, which is very, very good. Because, you know, instead of putting like a long prompt, complicated, to get the same result, by just putting 3 words, I get already suggestions, all right? So let's say I want this one here. And this is what I get. I get an insight from top 5 papers. And this is the free version. All right. So if you go to the free version, you will get 5 papers. Of course, if you want to get more papers, and if you do a systematic review, you need to have a little bit more than 5, I suppose. You will have to go for premium. I'll give you at the end of this session some codes. If you're interested in the premium, you can have some discounts. All right. It's better than nothing. So here you have top 5 papers, but already the top 5 papers here, it's very relevant to me because I understand, first of all, it's in English. I can select different languages here. But I have already some of the references that appear here. Of course, as you can see, it's not APA here, for example, or it's not what I want. If I cannot copy that and paste it somewhere, I will have to check all this here. But I have the 5 top papers in the literature published as per SciSpace on this particular prompt here. Okay, I can chat with the paper, which is good. But let's forget the text that I just put for a minute. And you need to visualize something. So for example, if you go for connected papers, because sometimes you have all these articles and you will need to visualize it for your academic paper. And to do a graph is complicated. So you can do PowerPoint, not very nice. Okay, you do squares and rounds and circles and stuff. But here you see, I just put chatbot improvement, language learning performance, but you can put whatever is your discipline, okay? And build a graph. And it goes to here, choose a paper to build a graph. So you have different papers, okay? You select which one you want, all right? And then, for example, you see, this is the one that I mentioned that was published. So this is the article that was published. So let's say I want this. So if I am here on connected papers and I want to do a graph on this, how important this is? This is important because it's going to show me all the connections and all the papers that have cited these guys here. All right. So here it becomes like this. So this is the article. All right. Feifei Wang appears here. This is Feifei Wang and all the people that are interconnected to this paper. So first of all, this graph is very cool. I can use in an academic paper. I can use in a conference when I present. I can use with my bosses. Remember, some of you maybe work for companies or whatever. You need to present something after a conference, or you need to present a paper related to social marketing or something. You have a graph here, which is quite cool. If you start clicking on things, then this graph will change. Okay, and will show the connections of who with somebody else. So that's pretty cool as well. And here I give also the summary of the article. All right. I can also do it with Litmaps. I don't know if some of you used Litmaps before. So Litmaps, it's also good for graphics. So if I put, for example, an article, and let's say I use this article, single cell RNA, which is a complicated article. So for example, if you don't understand it, you can go back to what I demonstrated just before, explain this paper to me. All right, but if you understand it and you are in this field, then you can see that it generates a different kind of graph here, which you could, of course, download, etc. And if you click again, it will create different images. Okay. Now, methods used and research gaps. So sometimes we have an idea, okay? So we generate an idea. To generate an idea, you know how to do it. You can go to Gemini, you can go to ChatGPT, you can GPT-4 or whatever you fancy. And you say, I need a research idea, for something that has not been written on something. So your prompt is not very complicated here. But sometimes you need to see if somebody has been using those methodologies. Because, for example, if you're in your PhD or a master's, people will ask you, what is your contribution to knowledge? And if you cannot make it very explicit, then you have a problem. At the Viva, for example, if you're doing it in the UK, you have to present that to a jury. So methods used. Or now you're writing an academic article, you need to see what are the methods that have been used by similar papers, similar articles. And sometimes you don't know if there is a research gap. All right, so you can spend hours and hours reading articles. You go to Google Scholar, old style, and you read all the articles until you think of a research gap, or maybe you have discussions with colleagues. But, generative AI can help you. So, for example, if I go to SciSpace, you remember, I was with my articles. I asked for some insights. So this is pretty cool as well, because now I have 40 papers, you see? If I am on a premium, I have 40 papers. I can scroll down the 40 papers. I can ask Copilot to explain some of things to me, and I got the insights here. You see the insights of the paper? So that I don't have to read all these articles. I can just look at the insights. If this is relevant, good. Otherwise, I don't keep it. I don't need it. But another thing that's very important is the methods used. You see qualitative research. So if I am qualitative researcher, this is important to me. If I want to do case studies, so this one is more relevant. Okay, so if it's a case study, then I know I need to cite Yin, because a case studies is Yin. And here I look at the study focused on piloting the use of ChatGPT text generation. So that's important to me because this is what I need for text generation here. And as you can see here, I can check other stuff here. Of course, you have a lot of little things here that you need to explore. But you see, you can look at conclusions of the article. You can summarize the abstract. You can look at the results. But me, I already have the methods. Now I need to know the research gap here. What is the research gap here? So the research gap here, for example, on this one, is the paper highlights the need for further research on the impact on L2 writing. I haven't thought of that. The impact of ChatGPT on language to writing learners, particularly in terms of long-term effects and sustained improvement in writing skills. That's important. So now when I have this, then I can go to generative AI. I can go to SciSpace again and say, for example, look for anything related to this, ChatGPT on L2 writing learners. I can also go to Google Scholar. I can also go to Gemini and GPT-4 and ask the exactly same question. Try to find me the articles related to this particular thing. And you will see that if there is a research gap or not. You need to verify. Remember, you cannot take everything for granted. This is my research gap. I take it and then I try to justify it. If it's not justifiable, you will need to have all the sources, okay? Here, are there any future research directions or unanswered questions suggested by this paper? So you see here, I have a suggestion here and here, exploring the impact of ChatGPT on listening and speaking skills. So this is even better. It's even more precise than this one. Writing learners. Now we have listening and speaking. All right. Requires further investigation. Its impact on listening and speaking. Again, this is an example. Okay. You can do that with any disciplines. If you are in physics or if you are in biology, if you are in anything, you can just ask the exactly same questions to SciSpace. You will have the research gaps. Okay, as I shown you, or the other things that you have here, the variables, the data set, the limitations, and you will have it, okay? Sometimes you don't know how to write limitations for your paper. It's interesting to see if this is a similar paper you want to write, how the limitations are written here, okay? It will put here a different category or column with the limitation. You see how it's written, and it can inspire you to write yours, all right? So as you can see here, qualitative data to support quantitative findings. So that again gives me a research gap, which is important. I can also chat with the paper, remember? All this can be downloaded if you have the premium, all right? If it's the free version, you cannot do many of the functions. So back to our text here. So I am in SciSpace. You remember I have that text that I had generated, if you remember, on top. So chatbots have shown promising effects. So I have all this here. I highlight it. As you can see, I copied and pasted from later. From before. Go to this. You remember I told you have a lot of goodies here on the left-hand side. I copied
Recording
and
in
pasted.
progress.
So basically that one. Okay. Now you can choose here academic, fluent, formal, creative. I choose academic because we are in research, so we look for academic. Okay, you have more options. You can select a new input here, and then you click paraphrase. Very simple. Okay, no complication here. I can choose the length, the variation. All right. Language, same as input, but if I have this in English and I want this in Urdu or in Gujarati, I probably can do it, or in Chinese. All right, so you don't have to think about. This is the text, I paraphrase, and this is what I get. But what's the problem here? You see the problem, and apologies to SciSpace, but chatbots have exhibited promising effects in the realm of language acquisition, over blah, 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 Jang et al. So I already mentioned this. This is not a style of referencing. So at the moment, it comes like this. So it should be brackets 202 or something like that, because I cannot use it. And if I forget it and I paste it in a paper and I submit to a journal, then they would spot it in 1 second. But the problem is this one here, all right? Because we have an AI detection here, which is good. It will help you. The AI detection will help you to see if this has been written by AI. So what do? But before we do that, this guy, Tianyu Xu, wrote something quite funny about all the uses of words and phrases by ChatGPT, which become very, very, very boring now. Every time I go to LinkedIn and I see all these people posting all these things with the same words, it gives me pimples, okay? So realm, oops, okay? So realm, oops. Dive into, we have a lot of dive into, okay? all these words that appear 1 million times, elevate. Okay, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be using it, but you just have to remember that some people will notice. Okay, so of course, moreover, it's a word that we use, right? Additionally, moreover, fine. Things like the dive into, realm, shed light. It's very generative AI, so be very, very careful. So as a matter of fact, here, if I use the AI thing here, remember the AI detection, and if I go to this text, look, 1 out of 10 sentences were AI written. Oops, look at that. Low AI, but still. All right, 1 out of 10 sentences. So if you calculate here, maybe you have, it's quite a few. Okay, 1 sentence has been selected. So you have to be careful. But so what do I do? Well, I'll take the text and I go to Trinka. Anybody familiar with Trinka? So Trinka is quite cool as well, because with Trinka here, you just put the text and you see, boom, it highlights the problem here. And then this is what you should be doing, or what you should be writing. So if you click on this, then automatically it will replace it here. So you don't have to do it yourself. Chatbot, see, you notice that I forgot the S, led to significant students. Okay, it makes it more English better writing. So Trinka is pretty good, free as well. Of course, you have limitations if you do not pay for some of the premium stuff. All right, but this is pretty cool. As you can see here, you also plagiarism checks, which is quite a cool thing here. And you have a citation checker. So here, if I click, you will definitely notice that the citation is not correct. All right. Now you need to check, okay, you know, basically how to do some search of the literature, how to create a graph. You need to check some of the writing, your abstract. You could create an abstract by now, all right, for your conference or for your article. So what do I have here? I have undetectable AI. I don't know if you are familiar with this one. So I put the text here, and it says to me, check for AI. So I use the exactly same text. You see a review by Zhang and colleagues, the exactly same text that you have here, a review by Zhang and colleagues, all right, which came from here. So I go to undetectable AI, I put it here, and I say check for AI, okay? And then I'm waiting impatiently. Boom, oops, oh no. So just imagine if you submit this, Tushar Verma puts his hand, so I don't know if he has a question, so maybe to the end, or I'll give you 5. Your content is detected as written by AI. So that's a problem. You see, you have all the detection tools here, GPT-0, OpenAI, Writer, 0% human. Oops, 50% human. So it's a little bit better than this. You see what I'm saying? Here's 1 sentence. So you have to be very, very careful. Okay, as I mentioned, be ethical. Use the tool. It's not going to work. It's going to be detected. The oops is my photo, so don't worry. It's not from the system. Same as this guy here. But the good thing is, humanize. Ooh, this is good. All right. I have a high five here for the colleague just now. Humanize. So humanize the text. So I humanized it, and the result, beam, 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 boom, green, all perfect. All right. No more problems. So here I can copy and paste. That's perfect. It's by undetectable AI. Again, careful. It has been generated by AI. It has been corrected by AI. You use Trinka, you moved it. You can put it also on GPT-4 and say, rewrite it for me in proper English, in academic English. You can do those tools, okay? You know how to do that. But here I humanized it and it's perfect. All right. Now, you can also write with generative AI, as I mentioned, but please be very careful with this and declare it. So I don't know if you know any of those tools, Jotbot, Isaac, iThor, Jenny, Paperpar. Anybody familiar with those? Okay. So Jotbot, for example, very simple. Start writing, it's free. That's good when it's free, and start writing. What do? What are you writing? I just put here the development of integrated, put whatever. All right. The whatever discipline you are working on. As you can see here, when I start writing an outline, it gives me an outline already. And this takes exactly 30 seconds, okay? Overview of the Greater Bay Area, integrate marketing communication strategy. So he understands what I want here. And that's good because this can be, for example, the start of a presentation. For tomorrow, I need to present that to somebody. I already have my outline. So that's good. Or for my conference presentation or for my paper, all right? I have some of the 2.1, 2.11, 2.22, etc., etc. Generate full draft because I need to generate full draft. Boom. You see, in a few seconds, I get this. I have 429 words. Of course, this is the free version. So I have limitations in terms of what I can do, but I have some text here. Of course, if I'm not happy with the text, I can try to humanize it. I can try to go to Trinka. I can go to Gemini and say, rewrite it for me, etc., etc. I can add the sources. Okay, so if you click on add sources, it will add some of the sources here. You can also, how can I improve my document and summarize my document, for example, if it's very long and you need to summarize it for some audience. ITHOR. So ITHOR is the same. Factors, I just wrote factors influencing companies' compensation strategies and practices. Okay, or what do you want to write about? I say use of chatbots in management courses, for example. Okay, again, simple example, simple prompt. Now I can select what do I want. I want analytical because it's a research article. I don't want narrative. I don't want descriptive. Next. I select here. So you see here the capability gives me the different style. APA. So I look at the APA. Is this correct? Looks like it's correct, but it doesn't give me the DOI. You see, there's no DOI. Some journals will ask you for a DOI here. All right. And if it's APA, some of the things will have to be in italics, and it's not in italics here. Okay. So you might have to review that too. It's not really APA. Okay. But the good thing is IEEE. For our university, for example, when we create syllabi, it's very difficult to find an IEEE citation style, all right? Because it's not, or you have to type it manually. So I type next, and here we have use of chatbots. Again, it gives me an outline. Introduction to 2.1, good, 2.2, 2.3. If I'm happy with this, I go with it. Next, if I'm not, I regenerate. Okay, I can add a point. So I will create a point, 2.3, 2.2.1. I can add a section. Okay, if I click next, then articles, and quickly, a very simple, quick article. Again, there's no references except those. There's only 2 or 3 here. Are these correct? You remember that if you use you use GPT-4 or whatever, the references might not be correct. So this is an invention, is an hallucination, or whatever you want to call it. But here, the good thing of ITHOR, it gives you the PDF. But the reference, again, as you can see, it's not in APA. Because APA, this one, okay, something is missing. Something is missing. There's no full stop here. There's no DOI. There's no journal. There's no nothing. So you will have to rewrite all of this. You cannot just copy it. So you can go, for example, to Google Scholar, or you use whatever, EndNote, or whatever you are using. But here, the reference is correct. So that's good. I have the PDF, so I can check it. But the text here, you have some assumptions that you will need to back it up with some research. All right, but it's not bad. Okay, in 30 seconds, having this, it gives me a starting point. If I am in front of a text, or like in the old style, a white page, you don't know what to write, here at least you have a starting point. All right. And he continues. It's the same thing. Okay, so I go to PaperPal, very simple. I log in, and new web document, my first document, so very simple. All right, plagiarism check, that's good. All right, and I say I need help writing a research article investigating the effects of acupuncture on pain relief in oocyte retrieval. So do you see, it is a very complicated prompt that I wrote here. So a complete different discipline. So you can write whatever you want. As an example, I put normal, All right, you just put this, and of course he has to understand what I mean by this. He needs to understand acupuncture. He needs to understand it's Hong Kong public hospitals. And you can see here, I have these two different things in paper part. I have research article, and I also here have different things. One, for example, is templates, which is important. You can translate your document, you can rewrite, you can do research, and you can select if you want a case and a self-statement of purpose. Okay? As you can see here, he created this in 10 seconds. Okay? Literature review. But the C here is very general. Literature review was conducted. So this is too general for me. I cannot do anything with this. But at least I have those sentences that a journal will expect. Okay? So for example, when some of the journals you submit to, they would say, I need to see those sentences. They will not tell you, formally in the review, but when you're a reviewer of journals, like I am, for example, you are expecting those sentences, those introductory sentences. Data analysis was performed using statistical software. So for example, SPSS, you will have to fill some of the stuff, but at least it gives you something. Okay, so choose a section to start, results. And for example, is medicine, because it's medicine here that I want. Acupuncture is Chinese medicine, okay? Now I need help with research grant proposal on the use of chatbots for the law school. Same stuff, template. Okay, research article. I want the methods for this article. I want the methods. He asks me for what field of study, medicine. Why? Because chatbots for the law school, but it's medical errors. All right, for lawyers on medical cases. So I need to explain what I want here and generate. And here you go. I have the research methods, case study. Of course, a little bit general still, but I still have those sentences that I need to start my stuff. All right, you will have to do the research. Okay, the research will have to be done by somebody. All right, I'm looking for knowledge gaps here, for example. All right, I can continue with different things here. Now I said, for example, write an introduction for me for this particular article, because you remember I have the some of the parts here, the methodology or whatever, but I want an introduction, and you can ask it. Now, who has issues finding a relevant theoretical framework? So you work with some colleagues. Sometimes the research question is difficult to find. So now you know how you do it, basically. Sometimes it's difficult to find a relevant theoretical framework. So what do? You can spend hours and hours reading the literature on Google Scholar, for example, similar articles. You look at what they used, but sometimes you don't have access to those papers, so you can't check it. Sometimes you're not quite sure, do you use a Straussian or Glazerian Grandi theory, for example? You go like, what do I use? What's the difference between Glaser and Strauss? Okay, these two are in Grandi theory. How I'm gonna select those for my paper or for my master's or for whatever. So here, for example, I go to Poe. Poe uses GPT 4.0. Poe has everything. If I go to your bot, you will find everything. Most of it are there for free. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Poe, I recommend getting something with Poe, and you will get your bots. You can even create your own bot, which is not very complicated here, and you can do your bots to answer some of your questions. So I said, you are a researcher. So now I give my prompt, I give the GPT 4.0 a persona. You, GPT 4.0, are a researcher in entrepreneurship, and you need to select the most relevant theoretical framework for this article. The rise of chatbots in entrepreneurship and for entrepreneurs. And here, this is what it gives me. It gives me 5 or 6 or 7 different ones. Okay, so if I go back, it starts with one here. Technology acceptance model. I suppose some of you know what it is. And then it gives me like 4 or 5 here. And then I said, I want the justification for the selection. And now he says, for the article, this one is the most suitable framework. Why? And sometimes you will have to justify. If you do a PhD or a master's, you will have to justify. If you write an academic article, you'll have to justify why, in the context of your article, why you selected this theoretical framework or conceptual framework, whatever you call it. Okay? He explains it to you. And that's very cool because, I don't know sometimes how to justify something. Here it's going to help me. I will have to rewrite all this, some of it, but it's helping me to select and save a lot of time for the framework. Okay, I will go quickly now because we have a few. We have now it's 47. You can use research with your students, for example, to visualize climate data. Okay, what do you do? Well, you look at global temperature around the world. All right, so you download data from somewhere, and you say, for example, let's go to Julius. You have a new chat here. As you can see, I put the thing here. I attach whatever thing, a PDF or CSV file on global change matter, and then it creates whatever for me creates. First of all, when I put it, I upload it here, the CSV file. This appears, all right? And I continue here. And this is what I get. I upload the following. Thank you for that. How can I assist you? Can you provide a summary of the temperature data by country? Because it's climate change, so I need to get thing. And this is what I get. I get tables. This is in 30 seconds again. 5 hottest countries. And then I get this very cool graph here. You can do 3D graphs as well with this one. So I have all these countries on the planet, and I have this cool graph temperature. I can do surveys as well. So generate 10 questions for a survey of millennials. I just go to Gemini. You recognize Gemini here. 10 questions for a survey for example, for your research project. You need to do a research project on social media and millennials, Generation Z. Okay, creates me the 10 questions. I don't have to think about it. I just have to review it, see if it's correct and accurate. Okay, now I have my survey, but now I submit the survey or I post it somewhere on LinkedIn or somewhere, and then I get 300,000 millennials and 150 million survey responses. What are you going to do? You're going to do it manually? Myron or Jomar or, Donia, you're going to do it manually? Who wants to do that manually? All right. Or you're going to do like with an Excel spreadsheet? Might take a little bit of time. So let's use generative AI. So I said, analyze the spreadsheet and provide a summary of the most important data. Okay. Remember, there's a lot of millions of things. So I put it here. This is public data. Remember, if you're not sure about the LLMs, you have privacy issues, do not put anything public like student names or student IDs. This is a little bit dangerous, okay? If you do not, we do not control where this goes. So a little disclaimer here, be very careful. I'm using here public data, okay? Like UNESCO or whatever. So here I put the CSV file, as you can see here. The spreadsheet is here, and look, summary. Boom, the numbers. This took 3 seconds. But then I say visualize it. And then it gives me this. I goes like, what? So if I am very good in Python or anything, that's good. I understand. But if you don't understand anything, this is your visualization. So what do? I'm stuck here. I go to Visly. All right. So Visly, I said, read the following Python code that I copy from the one before. And generate a graph. He reads the Python, the one that you just seen, and then boom, he makes the graph for me. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. This is very good. Cool. All right. This is the thing that you get. All right. Which is pretty good. What would you like to ask is asking me. So that's good also. Can you show data in the table? Bam, it puts in the table again. So that's good. All right. Gives me the table. And I say, continue the analysis for me. And he analyzes everything. Surprisingly, the highest percentage of respondents indicate that no social blah, 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 Facebook, Snapchat recommendations. This is pretty good. This has helped me, for example, for my research project that I need to present to my boss, or some articles that I have that are very complicated. There's a lot of data. I need to do it very, very quickly. The data for me. To finish, financial analysis. That's the last example. So what do I do with this? So if you have like finance students or whatever, you ask them, for example, to do on Statistica and get, for example, 100 cryptocurrencies. You can see I copy this. As you can see, it's highlighted because I copied it. And I said, analyze these cryptocurrencies. I go to Gemini and tell me which ones I should invest in based on trends. So for example, if you don't want to do research or you just want to invest money in cryptocurrencies, I don't know. That's your thing. Okay. And then based on the trends you provided, an analysis of some cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Tether, Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. And then, I have a graph as well. I can look at the stuff, Bitcoin, US dollar, which is good. And then I say, given the recent expert assessment at NVIDIA has a near zero chance of outperforming Bitcoin over the next decade. Please do a comparison. So here, for example, do you see my prompt is very, very complicated now. Then he explains to me everything. And then the most is very long. So I cut it for you, Bitcoin and NVIDIA. And the important is the conclusion. Bitcoin, NVIDIA, pros and cons, assessment. That's good. So I said, okay, so compare it. Then I went to another one because this is GPT-4. I went to Llama, okay? And I asked to do the exactly same exercise. And then here it says, faces competition and economic risks. And I say, can you provide more information about the competition NVIDIA faces in the GPU market? And now I am asking Gemini again. This is chain of thought. So I'm asking same different questions, follow-up questions on the different LLMs here. And can you provide more information? And he gives me the explanation here. And once I have an exercise like that, I can ask the students, for example, to do this. Based on these insights from Gemini, Llama, and GPT, and the risks involved, provide a robust explanation on why I should invest on Bitcoin and or NVIDIA, and justify your answer. Okay, a simple exercise, research exercise for your finance students using this. Okay. And to conclude, before I take your questions, if you have questions, these again are the different tools that I use today. Okay, you have things to do high charts, so these are goodies. Cascade, you can do flow charts. Hyperwrite to generate ideas. Hemingway is a little bit like Trinka. It's going to help you with some of the stuff. Okay, size summary is also another thing. Easy peasy AI to write, for example, a research grant 10 times faster. Okay, so that's good. Simplified, Elicit, you know some of them. Again, the idea here was to show you some of the tools. Okay, one of my favorites when I do research is SciSpace. So you have here different discount coupons for monthly and annual. You can take the photo of the screen if you like. You just visit this link. You go to the pricing page. On top it says a premium or whatever, and then you put the code, and you will get 40% off on the annual and 20% off on the monthly. Okay. And then I hope it was useful. First of all, thank you again for your time tonight. Of course, in 15 minutes, it's a little bit of a rush. It's a lot of info. I understand if you're not used to this. I had to show you as many tools as I could in 15 minutes. I think that was the purpose of this. We could have done one tool in 50 minutes or two tools in 50 minutes, but it might be a little bit boring. And I don't think it was the purpose of this. But I'm open to questions. And again, thank you for your time tonight. And I hope it has been useful. I'm open to questions if you have any questions in the chat or anywhere.
Yes, Dr. David, there are a few questions that have come in the Q&A bar. You'll be able to see them.
I don't see the questions here.
The Q&A option.
Q&A option. Can you give me some other questions? I don't see it.
So somebody has asked, I think it's basically, is using AI in research ethical? I think you have pretty much answered.
Yeah. You have to be careful. If you do not declare it, it's not ethical. You cannot write a full article. It can help you with some of the sections, as I mentioned, but you will have to rewrite it. It's obvious. When I see a section written by LLMs or generative AI, I know it very quickly. As a reviewer, I will immediately flag it very quickly. The systems, they don't flag it very, very well, but it's obvious. All right, it's very dry, and not being dry, it's you declare it. Our students here, we are the University of AI. If they use it, they need the authorization of the supervisor, and they need to declare which section they have been using and what have they been using. Have they been using that for image generation, for text generation, or whatever? But let's be ethical. We know we are academics, we are educators. We need to teach the right thing to people, right? Okay, so that's a tool. to help you to go from one place to another faster. Please use it ethically.
Awesome.
Other questions?
Okay. What are the best AI tools for data visualization, generation of graphs and charts?
So as I showed you just before, you have, these ones here. To generate graphs, you have, sorry, if you still see the screen, you still see the screen, yes?
Yes.
High chart here is pretty good. It's a bit limited in terms of things that you can do with it. But if you don't pay, I mean, if you use the free version. But this generates the charts very, very well. You remember that the connected papers I showed, this is pretty good, generates things also for free, most of it. If you pay, you have more capabilities, and lit maps. Okay, these are the three ones that I would recommend. Okay, Elicit is good to do a little bit of literature review and stuff, but in terms of charts, these are the three best ones in my opinion.
Okay, awesome. Should I consider the research gap presented by SciSpace worthy?
But again, it's like everything. I go to Google Scholar, old style. I ask a research gap on Google Scholar, or or I go to Scopus and I generate research gaps by looking at the articles. It's worthy as long as you verify. Okay, you need to verify everything. All right. I give you some example. When I lived in Hong Kong for many years, and I was helping people apply to grants, national grants. These are complicated. It's a lot of money, and it's very competitive and stuff. So they would come with the things, and they would come up with their research grants idea. They will write the thing properly and whatever, and they will say, okay, this is the gap. This is what I'm trying to address. I need 20 million or whatever I need. Okay, and I say, okay, give me 24 hours or 48 hours. After 48 hours, I would find something like a master or PhD thesis or an article that they did not identify when they wrote their research grant proposal. And then I found it, and I say, I'm sorry, somebody, in Tanzania, or somebody in China or in Japan has the similar idea to yours. So it's a gap here, maybe in Hong Kong, but you need to remember that somebody else is working on something similar or has published something similar. It goes so fast, it goes so quick that things are changing. SciSpace, like the other ones, Explain Paper or whatever, or Perplexity, they are training their systems as quickly as they can. It costs millions of dollars to those companies to do this. We have to give them credit for this, but you need to verify it. Even if when you're going to publish your paper, when I did my PhD, I was the only one, the first one on massive open online courses in the UK. Okay, and by the time it was published, now I was the second or third one. Okay, somebody else went quickly and already published their PhD. So it goes very, very, very quick. You need to always check that what's generated is correct, because somebody may have published something on that day or the day before or whatever. Okay, so maybe the gap is not that thing. If it's a niche subject or topic, it's easier. If it's something you do about Napoleon, for example, or Shakespeare, good luck to find a research gap. But still, I suppose people are doing PhDs or masters on Shakespeare. Okay, so they have to find those little niche research gaps. But yeah, just verify the claims and do a little bit what I did. You ask many different tools the same question, see what they come up with. And then again, I'm using, for example, sometimes to do analysis of qualitative research, Atlas TI. I don't know if you know this one, Atlas, ATLAS.TI. So we try to generate all the codes, the manual codes, But if you don't know how to do manual coding in terms of qualitative research, then you're in trouble, because you will rely on Atlas.TI that does it for you. And then, and then when we looked at it, we did it manually. We found out there were a lot of differences between what we thought was correct and what Atlas TI thought it was correct. So you cannot take everything for granted. Just verify.
Okay, awesome. That was very comprehensive, Doctor. So the next one, I think I can answer. How much is the premium of SciSpace? It slightly varies according to the region you live in. it's in India, it's slightly cheaper already. If you are elsewhere, it's $20 if taken monthly. And if you take it for a year, it costs you roughly $12 a month. So it comes down to $144 for the whole year. But as Dr. David already mentioned and showed you the discount codes can help you get it for much, much cheaper. So yes, that is that. Somebody has also asked, is undetectable AI
Oh yeah,
legit?
okay. Now I get the answers. And legit. Well, if you try it, and if you try to some of your plagiarism checkers, it's pretty good, I must say. Okay, every university. I don't know if you work in university, Helena, but if you have some, you would like to answer that. Okay. So if you use some of the plagiarism checkers that you have at your university, okay, you can try once you have gone through the detectable AI. It makes it pretty good. Yeah. Are there tools to help with latex? Yes, there are tools helping latex. Even the GPT-4s and everything, they all have options now. They said, can you put this text in latex? I have a colleague the other day tried this with GPT-4, the paying version, and it's asked about can you put all the Yamas, the latest versions, the advanced versions, the paying ones. Most of them are free now, by the way. But anyways, she tried the other day to put it in latex, and it does it for you. So yeah, you can do it with most of the normal ones that you know. From your experience, how many AI services are needed to write a full AI paper? It really depends. It really depends where you're stuck. I'm using it as a tool when I'm stuck. Okay. I'm not saying like, okay, immediately, okay, I have an idea. Let's start with generative AI. Okay, he's going to do my abstract, he's going to do my literature reviews. Okay, no. I know I'm working with colleagues, first of all, so different people work on different things. When I'm stuck myself or my colleagues are stuck, I say, okay, why don't, for example, the other day I had to do a table. And I didn't have much time, and I have a lot of data. And I said, how can I make this table? Well, it's going to take me maybe an hour to do this table and organize it. So I have I had a paid version of something. I put it there and I generate the table and organize it according to the different columns and whatever. Done. So this saved me, an hour. So that's the tool. Okay. Now sometimes I said, okay, I write this part, and I said, all right. I'm not quite sure about the English here. Can you rewrite it? Whatever. Sometimes I go to a conference overseas and I say, can you write this particular section in Chinese, for example? And of course, you need to understand the language. I understand. I can read Chinese, so I can see if it's correct. Okay. But when you go to a different country, you put it. So I use this when it's useful. All right. When I have 200 articles, I'm going to use SciSpace. All right. To simplify for me the methodology or whatever. Otherwise, I'm going to spend hours and hours on Google Scholar. So it depends when you're stuck, and it depends what you need. So it's very hard to say when you're stuck. Okay, for example, write the limitations. I'm stuck there. I don't know what to do. You put some of the prompts saying, like, this is my article about whatever. What do you think the limitations will be? You ask Gemini, you ask GPT-4, you ask Yama. They will come up with different limitations. You combine the three. You have your limitations thing written because you need to do it. And it's quick, you review it, and it's done, all right? Tools like PaperPal will use our data in training their model. It's just LLMs that we should be aware of the data we share. Everybody will use your data. Facebook will use your data. Everything you use on a daily basis will use your data, and without telling you, all right? So you have to be careful because you don't know where it goes. As I said, be very careful. Use those tools, fair enough. Delete it very quickly, whatever you do, but it's a pro and a con. The pro is they become better because many people are using it. And when I ask a question, this is what we're doing in our research. When we compare, we have accurate answers. But we have the experts. So I have economists checking all the answers for the economics papers, and I have entrepreneurs checking the stuff. But yeah, it's the pro is like the more people use it, the more they get better, and the more it's good for me. But I don't know where the data goes, so I have to be very, very careful, and you should be aware of this. I have been using SciSpace, and that's helped me always. Here you go. That's good. Thank you. You were amazing. Thank you, Sharon. I hope it was useful, and please connect. You have everybody, you have my LinkedIn, or if you want me to put the LinkedIn again, let me know. Some journalists said that we have AI detected. Do you have an idea what are those tools to review? They're using the exactly same ones that that you're using at your university. Okay, all the tools that are used by universities is the same ones, but they're not very good. So you have a chance out of 2 or 3 that they will detect you. But again, be ethical. What's the point of just trying your luck? All right. You know, the other day I had I submitted a paper, and then somebody came back to me. They used a AI detector, and they use a normal detector, and then they say, "Oh, your paper is all copied." I say, "Excuse me." Everything. So the results, which is impossible. You know, we had ethical clearance numbers, everything. So somebody I had submitted to a journal. Somebody had reviewed that paper, maybe liked it, and immediately published it somewhere else. And then when I submitted doing my changes, and I submitted it, and then it was the journal said, "You have plagiarized from somebody." There was our paper. All right. So of course we started a big fight with the guy, the university, and whatever. You had to retract everything. The journal, they have to retract it. So you never know what's happening on this planet. So be very ethical with when you do research. What is the visualization one called? You can visualize a lot of things with Taskade, for example. Taskade does a lot of flow charts, does a lot of things that like graphics and stuff. Now, if you want charts, is high charts. If you want connected papers, these are the graphics and lit maps. How can AI can beautify my slides? Taskade, you go to Taskade, you type whatever you want to generate, and they can make your slides for whatever topic. The slides will not be super beautiful, but you can, of course, generate images if you use DALL-E, or if you use all these. You go to Poe, remember? You have Poe. You go to Poe, and Poe has DALL-E, for example, or has other ones that can make images for you. So some of the images that you saw that I'm using, okay, for example, you know, some of the images that you see that I'm using, for example, this one I generate by AI, right? I generate myself. So you can create those images, but they're not very good yet. Generative AI to create beautiful slides. You can also go to Canva. You know Canva, the Australian company. You go to Canva, they can create all the presentations for you. And they're pretty good. They animate the things. Some of the things are free. So Canva, CANVA, can do that. Or Taskade is a good thing. Thank you, doctor. This was helpful. Thank you, Yusur. Priyanka, so could you please tell any AI tool for making creative graphical abstract? I'm not quite sure what is a creative graphical abstract, but any graphs are the tools that I showed you before. These are the most commonly used by researchers. It was a good session. We may need to use it a few times to sincerely make practical use. Yeah, sure. Invite me. I'm here. Is there any way to convert Excel sheet to directly SPSS variable view using AI? Yes, probably with the GPT-4s. The capability of the GPT-4 can do most of the stuff now. Thank you for insightful. So can you show any AI tool for generate good quality images? Well, you go to the most famous ones. Okay, you go to Poe. You have some image generators there. Okay, most of the people that you see on Instagram, they use Stable Diffusion. When you see the handsome guys, the beautiful woman, like beautiful bodies, whatever, they use Stable Diffusion. All right, so you have it on Poe. DALL-E, also people use DALL-E a lot. Most of the posters, you know, that you see on the streets or whatever, when they use generative AI, they use Stable Diffusion or DALL-E. But Poe, if you go to Poe, P-O-E, you will find a few of them, and they have an image. So you put your prompt, it creates an image. You go to Stable Diffusion Excel, for example, and in Poe, when you go your bots, the list appears there. You put the Stable Diffusion, you put the prompt, it creates an image, and then at the bottom, it will say, you want to see this image with another image generator. And then you select which one, and then they create a complete different image. So this is great, all right? Should we declare an ethical statement that we're using to improve the language, or is it not ethical? Improve the language, I think it's fine. If you just improve the language with Trinka, whatever, I don't think you need to declare. It's fine, okay? Remember the journals, for example, sometimes they tell you, oh, if you want to improve your English, we have a service that you can pay or whatever, or we recommend you to pay a service to the journals. They're already asking you to ask somebody else to verify this. So for example, us, we always have a native speaker of English for our paper. So I should declare that Melissa, my colleague, she's Australian, or John is English. No, it's fine. As long as it's not generated completely by AI, okay? Doing literature reviews. Well, literature review is very simple. You know, you have SciSpace right here, okay, that can help you with this. Elicit will help you with literature review, all right? Explain paper will help you. SciSummary will help you with literature review. Perplexity and Semantic Scholar, all right? So these 1, 2, 3, Elicit and SciSpace, okay? You also have EnagoRead. EnagoRead is a bit limited, but you have these tools here that I put it on the list for you guys, okay? What precautions must be taken when working? Sorry, the question's gone. Natural science, particularly experimental, when use AI is declared, what effect does it make on the submission and publication process? And it's not the critical thing that you have invented, you know, the research results. You know, if it's on the text that you're writing, the results is not going to help you much, generative AI, to do all the results. As you can see from the spreadsheets, the CSV files, you have results. You will have to verify of them. I did not give you an example, but I compared a few, for example. Not today, but I compared a few of the results. They give me different results. So I have to be very careful. I put a CSV file on different products. They came up with different results. So you are the expert. You will verify your experimental work. You'll declare whatever sections you have been writing with generative AI, but I would not trust much of the results that generative AI is going to give me. So you have to be careful with this. Are these tools that support the entire research process? No, completely not. All right. As you can see, what I try to show you today is like, it's better to use a few tools, first of all, to compare. Second, because you might get different answers. So now you start thinking, with the results, the numbers are different numbers. You remember, it's a social media marketing. The numbers should be the same. It's quantitative, should be the same. If it gives me different numbers, there's a problem here. So it's better to compare first a few things. And third, they all specialize in different things. Okay, so it's better to use different tools. You trial and error, a few tools to do this, then you jump to another one, then you compare with something else, you jump to another one. Thank you for the presentation. I'm doing some nice research on bioprocess engineering. I kind of wonder if I use AI to seek idea research problem for this nice field is a good decision. Yes, you could. Okay, go to HyperWrite, for example, generate ideas on HyperWrite. It's a good thing to, it's a good tool, for example, here, this one here. Then what do we have? Thank you, I'm doing okay. If a tool judges the text as written by humans, not by AI, can we trust its judgment? You cannot trust anything, right? Can you trust that the video that Donald Trump is publishing or whoever is publishing is correct? You don't know, right? It's not. When you look at all the videos that have been published with people talking, the other day I generated the video of a colleague. She was talking with an Australian accent, and everybody would say, "Oh my God, what happened to her?" So it's fake. As you can see, it's fake. I created a video as well for a university the other day. They had a board of trustees visit, and it was all generated by AI, and everybody was like, "Wow, how many people you used to film this? What all can you trust it?" I would be careful not to trust anything. I'm sorry, but it was very enriching session, sir. Karishma, thank you, Karishma. Appreciate it. It appears that there are AI tools for all aspects of research. In your opinion, what are the aspects in use of AI in article writing that would be acceptable for publishers? What is in line here? A declaration rouge or AI? Yes, just declare it. Like when you declare like you have no conflict of interest, just put a sentence. Many journals now, they start putting a thing. Okay, I declare that I have been using DALL-E for this. I declare that I've been using. You look at the journals. Now, many journals, they first of all, they tell you that you need to declare, like you have to declare, for example, ethical clearance. All right, if you interview people, you need to have an ethical clearance. So here, the journal will ask you. But what do you mean by acceptable? Again, nothing is much acceptable. It's generated by somebody else, not by you, right? You didn't write it. What you say it, you use it as a tool. Okay, I use a tool. Like I went today to some place. I use a tool, which is Google Maps, to go somewhere. Okay, so I don't declare because I don't have to declare in my research. I use Google Maps, But if I'm using Taskade, I just put a little note that this has been generated by Taskade, for example, at the bottom of the graph or wherever you can put it, or at the bottom of your article when you have declaration of interest, for example, when you written that part, Harish has done the methodology, and I have no conflict of interest. I didn't get any money to do that research, and you said I've used a Trinka or I've used SciSpace to do a literature review, something like that. It's not very complicated. All right, and the journals, they will appreciate it. Are there any tools for APA reference generation? Well, you just use a simple SciSpace generation. Yeah. You know, you can most of these tools, they have it. Otherwise, you know, Google Scholar. Otherwise, if you don't have money, you go for Google Scholar, or you go to most of the tools, they have it. What are the best tools for collaborative research in teams? Most of these things, most of those tools, they allow you to work in different teams, okay, to do different things together. Okay, so for example, Popeye, your personal AI workspace. You have here Popeye. So you connect with different people. Connected papers, you can work with different people. Explain paper, you can work with different people. Okay, you can write together. So most of these tools they have, but usually you need to pay for it. Okay, the free version is not allowing you to do that. Literature review is a very lengthy chapter to write. Can I incorporate literature review done through Litmap into my thesis? Again, review it, check the references. Is not going to be super good. By experience, we tried it to just see if those tools can do it completely for us. It doesn't look hyper good. I would say 30% is your job. It should be. You cannot put it in your thesis like that. It's going to be spotted very quickly. It's going to be very dry. You don't want something to be very dry. The references might be wrong. Check it. Another question I would like to ask: any best AI pick just to search paper, mainly for learn and make contrast between papers? Yeah, so SciSpace. Okay, Elicit, Perplexity, SciSummaries. What are your personal outlook for AI for research? I'm not quite sure what it means.
What it means is, what do you personally think about using AI for research?
I'm using it. I think again, is a tool, is useful. I think we need to use it. It's gonna make your life easier if you know how to use it. If you know how to ask the right prompts. If you know how to use the tools. I'm trying hundreds of tools. Okay, so here, whatever you see on the screen is the tools that I think work pretty well, and all of them. You know, the free versions can help you. Now, you don't have all the capabilities if you don't pay for premium. It's worth it. SciSpace is worth it. Okay. Some of them is a waste of your money. Don't use it. Okay. So, but use the free version. So think about it, but use it. You will have to use it. Your students will have to use it. They need to know how to use it, because otherwise they won't have the skills to go to the job market. What is the best approach for taking research notes, doing research with AI? So you also have tools, check online. You have tools that actually, during the lecture, you open it and it will record the lecture for you, and it will take all the research notes for you. Okay, so you don't have to do it with the camera of your computer. So this is the newest technology. Check it online. It will take all the research notes for you. Did you test AI enhanced visual not taking tools? Yes, we tested most of the things. Tools are pretty accurate, depending on the language and depending on the accent of the speaker. So you have to be careful. Sometimes if you have a very strong accent, we have colleagues here, for example, from some countries, the accent is pretty strong. It is not very accurate. A little bit like the YouTube subtitles. When you have the YouTube subtitles, it goes a little bit crazy when they don't catch the accent or whatever. Thank you so much. This one was very useful to me. Can I know the any goof free plagiarism detect tools and reference generating tools? Well, you can see, like if you go to SciSpace or if you go to some of those products, you will have plagiarism detection. You don't even have to go to the library of your university to use like some of those tools that they use. The other ones you need to pay. Okay, reference generating, just go to the regular ones, as we say. SciSpace has those. Other tools have it. Otherwise, you just use an EndNote like old style. Excellent webinar. Thank you, Saman. Appreciate it. Literature review is a very lengthy chapter. Okay, that's the same question. Thank you for the insightful presentation. So in summary, use them to find the paper faster. Do study the paper yourself and finish your paper with AI to refine it. In a nutshell, it could be like that. But when you finish your paper with AI to refine it, just check it again. The Kaizen term in Japanese. Refine it, make it. Fine tune it, check it, make it better. You can always do it. Human, you need the human in the loop. You are the researcher. You are the academic. You are the educator. You will make your presentation better. You will make your image better. Use chain of thought. So you ask follow-up questions. You go to Gemini, you ask one question, and you follow up with questions related to the first question. This is chain of thought. It will refine it for you, will make it better. Use different tools to refine it. If you pick 3 tools paying the full version, which tools would it be? Well, I'm very cheapskate, so I'm sorry. I don't want to spend money. But if I had to, I would go for SciSpace. Okay, I would pay for SciSpace. I will go maybe one of those writing things, iThorogeny. All right, and then I will go, if you want to check your English, this is very good, or one of these two, and this one to generate some of the graphs. I generate quite a few graphs here. For example, if you are in business school or whatever, you want to generate a lot of graphs and flow charts and stuff. This one it's quite good. Trinka, it's because I want to check English. But if you have Grammarly, or if you have any other things that your university is using, save your money and go for Taskade. Awesome. If AI is ethical, sure, should this be referenced in your work? Again, as I said, if you put it in a journal, if you put it in a PowerPoint presentation, just put it at the bottom. If you put it in a journal, the journal will tell you to declare, and then they will have sentences, like they have sentences for I have no conflict of interest. They have sentences that you copy and paste, and then you make it your own for the context of your paper. Okay, for us, and for example, for us at our university, or even any tools, for example, if you use GPT-4, there is a APA, there is a Vancouver reference for saying like I have been using GPT-4. You check online, you will have all the referencing for DALL-E, for GPT-4, for whatever. Okay, or you go to any university and you look at use of AI, and then they will have a slide that says if you have used the GPT-4, this is how you should be referencing it in your paper at the bottom. Okay, so it's easy to find on the internet.
Awesome, great.
Any other questions, guys?
We've answered, I think, 50 plus questions so far.
Yeah, 52. If you have no other questions, I'll thank you again. Remember, let me. I don't know if you had the chance to take a photo of the.
So your LinkedIn thing is not working actually. I have.
Damn.
I am posting it in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
The link to your YouTube.
Okay, maybe it was maybe I put a timer or something that is disappeared. Okay, never mind.
So I will be able to send it, Doctor, because I'm not a host. I have sent it to you. Maybe you can post it in the chat to everybody. Yeah.
Done.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's my LinkedIn. Anybody, if you want to say hi, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer you. And thank you very much again for your time. I know it's late, 7:26 for me in the UAE. I thank you again, and I hope to see you around.
Yeah, and I would love to end by saying thank you to Dr. David for doing this with us. Hopefully, we'll do more of these. I saw a lot of good response today. We had, I think, at its peak, I think 90 people who had joined us together. Probably 100 plus joined in total. So as the summer break ends, I think maybe we can do more. Just give us feedback when we will send you some feedback emails. Fill the feedback form. Let us know how you liked it, what you would like to learn about in the future, and we will bring those webinars to you. And one little gift you can say that I would love for you guys to check out when you check SciSpace, and it's a free feature, is that check Notebook on SciSpace. We launched a new version of Notebook very recently, and it has very good AI writing capabilities, something that could maybe replace some of the AI writing tools that Dr. David mentioned today. So we have kind of introduced that, and it's completely free to use in the free version. So you can use that to collect notes, write using AI, add references, or discover citations from our entire library of 287 million papers. So all of that can happen instantly inside Notebook now. So yeah, do check the Notebook out. You'll be some of the first few users to get access to this when you do. Yeah.
I see a lot of you already sending me notifications on on LinkedIn. Ding 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 ding.
Right. Awesome.
All right, thank you guys. See you later.
Yes.
Thank you, Debru, for
Thank you, Dr.
organizing
David.
this. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Keep in touch.
Yeah.
See you later. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.